just to cut across a few lines and get across to your coaching setup, right? You've got, it's pretty much similar to a leader having a team in the corporate. The leader might believe or would believe that in your principles. So he can probably look back at himself and said, I was always this way, I was brought up this way, so I'm thinking this way, right? For the next generation, you're effectively dealing with next generation. I'm sure most of you are dealing with the next generation that is coming in. I've got a daughter myself. To make her understand the way we were brought up and the principles that we were brought up with is becoming, let's say, interesting, right? So how difficult is it for you to instill that philosophy into your students, i.e. your team?
Well, I think if I were to, actually it's a long career to actually talk
Sure.
In a short period of time, but if I were to break it down,
Yeah.
And just go through this whole thing a little quicker in terms of my journey. Once I started being sure that I wanted to play the sport, or got my job and I was clear about my journey, then there were stages in my career, and there was a knee, I was working, I was the India #1, and then I had a knee surgery on my left knee in '94.
You're still working on your knee, right?
Yeah. 94, and then it was like everything had come down totally. And then I come back again in 96.
Yeah.
I was again back to where I was. I was starting to winning tournaments in 95. I was kind of good. And then 96, I won the nationals. And then I had another knee surgery. Then I went on to play a few more. And in 98, again, we went for the Sudirman Cup in Scotland. And I had another knee injury and I had a surgery. So
were there moments, sorry to interrupt, were there moments that you've lied down on your bed and actually cried, thinking back whether you'll be able to get up and play badminton all over again?
I think I loved the sport so much that that question actually didn't come. It was, I needed to follow my doctor's advice. I needed to give it that time. And all the time I was in bed, I was thinking that when I go back on court, what will I do? And if I'm lying in bed, what can I do? So I would strengthen my other body parts. I would also work on my mind. And to be honest, had it not been probably for those injuries, I would not have been the player I was. And today, I probably wouldn't have loved the sport as much as I love.
Because you're appreciating the good times when you had the bad times.
Yeah, I really love my sport because I was away from it.
Sure.
And not many of them probably have that advantage or have that same emotional connect with the sport. So those times were very important for me. And looking back today,
Sure.
at that moment, yes, I was feverish. I wanted to come back. I wanted to play again. But it instilled a lot of discipline in me. When the doctor said you need to do it every hour, the exercise, or my diet, I would control it to the extreme point because I was in bed after my initial ACL tear on my left knee in '94. I was in bed for almost about 4 months. And I had seen previous players put on weight and then get away from the sport. So I was very conscious. So by the end of the entire 6-month period, I actually was 1 kg down in weight than what I was started off. So I was like absolutely regimental, like I hadn't eaten a piece of chocolate for 6 months. So I was desperate to come back, and all my discipline was there, and I started to read a lot more on yoga and mental training, and all those things actually helped at the highest level in sport. So I went on. Thankfully for me, I had few years of 99, 2000, 2001 where I didn't have any major injury, and I got my best results during that time, wherein the All England also happened. And post that, I had another injury on my right knee, which was basically an overuse injury because over the years I was compensating more on my right knee. and that led to wear and tear of my right knee, which actually, where eventually I had to stop playing. But then once I got into 2002, then also I would get up, I would go in, I realized that my body was hurting. I wouldn't plan too many things, I would hurt. So then I started saying, okay, there are this bunch of kids, if I'm not playing, might as well help them out. And that is how this whole coaching piece got stitched into my life as in. And then in 2003, 2004, then I said, might as well do it, because I could see a huge potential with these young kids. When I started off in 2004, or actually in 2003 when I started off unofficially being part-time coaching, Saina was 13 years old. Kashyap was the oldest of the lot at 15. I had Sindhu at 8 years old. And today, Sai Praneeth, Guru Saida, these were all 11-year-olds who were there. And I picked up this entire bunch. And today, I'm happy that out of that bunch, if you look at today, with its Saina, Sindhu, Kashyap, Guru, Sai Praneeth, Sikki, yet Sumit Reddy, Tarun. Out of that 30 kids whom I picked up today, about 10 of them are at the national level, and probably all these names are at the world level as well.
It's not surprising that it's an interesting stat that I came across recently. Of all the sport, I think badminton, India has the maximum number of players in the top 30, if I'm not wrong. And I think the credit goes to the leader/coach in Pullela Gopichand. Yeah, I took a bit of a detour, really, and I have to go back to your playing days, because you just swiftly went past that 2001, which probably was the pinnacle of your career. When I talked to you about your knee injury, I was just trying to relate it to things that we go through in our professional lives, in our corporate lives. When we travel a certain distance, and we tend to look back at a few things, and if your pace is not as much as you would have ideally wanted to, you look back at a few decisions that you have made and a few setbacks that you've had, and say whether this is exactly the path that I would have treaded sitting here looking back. So from your point of view, how difficult or how important is to have that belief in you that the path that you've treaded is exactly the path that I've always wanted to tread? Because sometimes what happens is when you go back and try to analyze, sometimes you might want to change things for the sake of changing, or you might just sit back and say, all right, I still think this works for me, and therefore this is the way I need to go.
Well, to be fair, to be honest, I think I have loved, or I have totally happy with whatever I've achieved as a player. That's been fantastic. And also when I look back, I've tried everything possible. And
give us a few examples.
I think in my life, in terms of training methods, in terms of diet.
Did you have a proper dietitian? Did you have a proper trainer? Did you have anybody? Did you have somebody to assist you with the visa?
No, I think even the All England, if I can tell, actually we started, and I was in Sai, Bangalore.
Sure.
We came till here, actually, this point, where we actually came till that Kaveri Theatre. We were supposed to take the flight to Bombay, Bangalore, Bombay to Birmingham. That's what it was. Yeah. We came on that day. It was raining in March. And we get a call from our secretary in Rajasthan. He says, "Bhai, aapka to ticket hua nahi hai." So then we go back from the Kaveri Theatre. We go back to Sai. And the next day morning, we actually took a flight from here, Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Dubai, Bandra bus. And from there, we go to Amsterdam, Birmingham. And we've reached just like today evening, and tomorrow morning the matches start. So absolutely no practice session. We had no main hall practice. Nothing was there. So we've traveled some 24 hours to get there, to reach Birmingham. So
almost
getting
sounds
there,
like around the world in 80 days kind of feeling.
So absolutely, it was that kind of a challenge we were, and we had coaches, but really none of that other what we have today, whether it's the physio or the masseur or a manager, nothing like that. But anyway, the thought was that you should not try to change what is not there with you, but try and maximize, and winning and the facilities don't have a correlation. In the sense, it's important, no matter what, you have to win. That's the kind of mindset we were in. So all of these were fun, and we would say, okay, kind of a thing. But then when I look back, I've tried everything, and it probably, like, I've turned vegetarian, I've eaten only food, every kind of possible diet I've tried. Training schedule, I've run for a couple of hours every day. I've done only weights, I've done only skipping, only jumps, we've only played attacking game, played only defensive game. All that I've tried. And when I came back into coaching, what I feel today is I've done all that, and all of them are very useful in my coaching now. Because my primary thing which led me into coaching was also that, in the sense I said, I've tried this, realized it doesn't help. I've tried this, I realized it doesn't help. And maybe the third time I've tried something, I found that it was useful. So I've lost a lot of time doing the trial and error method. So my basic principle was that when I got into coaching was that I've tried so many things, wasted so much time, and if I can, and I won my All England at 27. What I believed was, if I could put these things closely together and feed it to the players, then instead of them winning at 27, they would start winning at 20. And that would be the biggest achievement, because then they have 7, 8 years or 9 years of their career more, and they could benefit from it, experience from that, and then they could move on.